Ballet was the first formalized dance technique. It has a very rich history. Ballet began in the 15th century and is widely popular today. Originally, there was an Italian court ballet, entertainment for the artistry while dining. Ballet was performed in short pieces by the royalty themselves. Since then, ballet has undergone many dramatic changes. Most notably, ballet and its descendants perform today for public audiences. Long ballet stories coined classical ballet, including favorites like Swan Lake and the Nutcracker. After classical ballet emerged short one-act pieces, which eventually led to the rise in neoclassicism and abstraction. At the end of ballet, modern and contemporary dance had emerged. When applied to arts, modern refers to work that was developed in the second half of the 19th century and the first half of the 20th century. Modern dance occurred because of the motivation of the social devastation and misery left by the Second World War. Modern dance originated in the U.S. and Germany in opposition to the rigid form of classical ballet. Many of modern dance is inspired by ancient civilizations and non-Western movements. On the stage, modern dance is viewed as less restrictive than ballet. For example, many modern dancers do not wear shoes. Although the torso can be free to move and the movements are often earthbound, whereas in ballet the back is held straight and the movements are light and airbound. Modern dance is very interested in expression of emotions, spirit, social, and nature. Modern dance also has its own set of principles that include concepts such as release, contraction, and the use of breath. Contemporary dance describes all of the advances in dance since the 1950s up until today. However, it is really a hybrid of ballet and modern dance, which came before it. Contemporary dance is referred to as contemporary ballet or postmodern dance. Contemporary dance describes an electric array of choreographed practice which can contradict one another in their aesthetic proposals. The technical knowledge of ballet is either used or refused in contemporary dance. Contemporary dance is also built on the foundations led by modern dance. Modern dance flourished in all areas that lack strong traditions. These dances emerged in the mid-1980s and no longer interested in traditional techniques, relied on elements in the use of literacy. Finally, the origin of these popular dance movements can be traced back to several influential dancers' masters, such as Isadora Duncan, Martha Graham, and Merce Cunningham. It has been said that Merce Cunningham changed the definition of dance when he became the first modern choreographer to disregard music and plot and to focus on the body. Cunningham believed that dance and music were independent from one another, and that music and dance are just performed at the same time. Cunningham took a different approach on dance. His personal dance style, reflected in his choreography, was usually athletic and forcefulness, but he could also affect a slow, nearly suspended motion, which went opposed sharply to the cross rhythms of either musical or anti-musical effects. He also used body-attached cybersonic consoles, which would increase, reduce, distort, unbalance, and then rebalance sounds by stage movements, according to the dimensions of different spatial areas. In addition, Cunningham never used tricks as facial expressions to reach an audience, relying solely upon pure body movement to produce effects. One of his important creations was Beach Birds, with music by John Cage. It was a piece of work that displayed all the characteristics that defined Cunningham. He created this piece by generating one step and then the next, and then practice both these steps, and then create a new step and keep the process going. In this piece, the movement is simple and it doesn't have meaning. There is no main character or lead dancer in Cunningham's work. He believes that every dancer is equally important. Likewise, there is no expression of obvious emotion. Many dancers may be on stage together or even partner one another. Moments of tenderness or intensity can occur, but they come from the movement itself and not from the imposed storyline. Merce Cunningham used chants with all his different dances. One way Cunningham did this was by asking audience members to throw a coin to determine the order of different sections. Over time, Cunningham's use of chants intensified, helping him try combinations of movements he wouldn't have thought of on his own. The way Cunningham used space in this piece was by when Cunningham felt all facings should be considered equally valid, and made choreography that explored different directions in space, sometimes determined by chance. Cunningham's performance only came together in dress rehearsal or in front of an audience. Cunningham created the movement, but not with a certain piece of music in mind. He did not dictate what the music or decor should be, leaving that in other artists with whom he collaborated, making this piece a group piece and not a solo piece. In addition to that, Cunningham's technique looks a bit like ballet, with the same turned out position of legs, quick footwork, and strong spine, but also differs in many ways. His dancers utilize their torsos, bending sideways, forwards, and backwards, and holding balance for long periods. They often must be able to do 2 or 3 things at the same time, executing different rhythms and movements in their legs, torso, and arms simultaneously. Moreover, there are frequent changes of direction and no rhythm from the music to count on. Cunningham's work is both a physical and mental challenge. Cunningham believes that dance should be danced or should be seen, not to be analyzed. During Merce Cunningham's time, many political and social factors played into how he created his work. In the late 1950s and on to the 1960s and 70s, dance once again mirrored the changing social climate. Groups and individuals began to question the increasing formality of modern dance. Just as teenagers rebelled in music and dress, young choreographers declared that theoretical presentation and dance detracted from the pure emotion, while others who found that the established techniques limited access for the non-trained dancers chose to explore pedestrian movement, such as simply walking, running, and falling. The 1960s are years of questioning of the historical truths and ideology principles that rule over the social, political, and artistic fields. Society starts a process of opening to the recognition of plurality, relativism of knowledge, and subjectivism of perception. From this time on, choreographers stopped creating schools or styles like their modern masters did. Influences between each other are less direct and more fragmented. With these social and political changes, dance, like all U.S. culture, had been deeply affected by the technology and growth of mass media. Dance has become a staple on television from the early variety shows to MTV, which stands for musical television. Because the camera, both by design and through the editing process, determines the ultimate view of a dance, media technology played a powerful role in what and how dance movement was viewed, whether on the classical programs on public television, Dance in America series, or on MTV. Merce Cunningham and others have incorporated television, video, and computer technology in their definition and creation of dance. One way Merce Cunningham used technology was by creating his masterpiece, Biped. Biped is the first Cunningham work in which these virtual figures share the stage with the company. They are projected on a gauzy curtain in front of the stage, floating in front of and above the dancers. The dancers move through a dark world populated by the projected figures, floating digital beams of light and circles. At times, the virtual figures and decor fades or disappears, while the dancers do the same, emerging from blackness at the back of the stage, later engulfed by it again, and then disappearing from sight. These are just a few examples how political and social and technology has affected Merce Cunningham's work. Some more interesting facts about Merce Cunningham is that he danced for Martha Graham until he formed his own company in 1953. And while serving as a professor at the Black Mountain College, he established the Merce Cunningham Dance Company, also known as MCDC. It included dancers such as Carleen Brown, Viola Farber, Paul Tyler, and Remy Charlotte, along with musicians including John Cage and David Tudor. The company was a success. Its performances dazzled the audience with its creative choreography. In 1964, the company made its first international tour and received immense appreciation from all around the world. He continued leading his dance company until shortly before his own death. The company went on a 2-year tour after his death as a tribute and was finally closed in 2012. In addition to that, Merce never gave the impression that he was concerned with what happened to his work after he was gone. He was, like most creative artists, chiefly involved in the work he was doing, or was going to do. Also, in 1964, the Merce Dance Foundation was established as Saturn, the company advances Cunningham's creative work. In the decades that followed, the foundation grew to support the company's respiratory undertaking group, the Merce Cunningham's Archives, and the Merce Cunningham Studio, located at West Beth, the historic artist housing complex in New York City, West Village. The studio was a founding member of the National Association of Schools of Dance and served as a home to MCDC from 1971 through 2011. Offered classes and professional training in Cunningham's technique, and oversaw the studio program for young artists, which provided affordable studio space and technical assistance to emerging artists. Cunningham has done a lot for new-coming artists. He has provided them many opportunities and has influenced many other dancers.